My name is Isabel Castro, and I'm teacher, artist, journalist, and storyteller. As you can see, this shop has been here since 1952, so I remember the shop very well. I've been coming to the Central Market since I was a child with my dad. It was mostly out of his need to come here every Saturday to buy food for our family. We had a family of 6. It was kind of, a little treat, a getaway, and it was a special thing that my dad and I used to do. Everything was $1, 5 pounds for $1. You can get apples, bananas, pears, peaches, everything that was seasonal at that time. But now I think it's the market has changed. It's more reflective of the urbanization that's happening, and in some ways I think it's good. But some ways I think that it really in order for the vendors to survive, they're going to have to cater to a new consumer.
My name is Claudia Armendariz. My grandpa's last name is Lopez, Celestino Lopez. Everybody knows Celestino Lopez. Yeah, we've been here for 30 years. My grandpa started working here in the 70s when he came from Mexico.
He came here to the United and came to this market right away, and he got a job in here in A&B Coffee.
It was originally called A&B Coffee because they sold coffee beans. And then when my grandpa took over in the 90s, he didn't change the name, but he started to sell dried chilies, and that's why we became known as Chiles Secos. And he introduced the mole in the mid-90s, and since then, that's what we're known for. People always come for the mole. What makes us special was my grandpa. He passed away in 2008, but people still come looking for him. He is what made the business successful because he was very personable and everybody knew him, and he'd like to, you could stand there and chat with him for half an hour.
All the people, when they come here, they come and look for him. But now that he's not here, everybody gets sad.
People loved him. Politicians used to come and get their picture taken with him to get that Latino vote.
My daddy was very, very nice. Even in the market where he used to work and at the house. He was I felt like a perfect dad.
So I'm just trying to keep his legacy alive. Started to see all these new vendors pop up, because I remember Egg Slut when they had their food truck, and when I heard they were getting a brick and mortar, I thought, wow, that's pretty awesome. So I started to come more often and just saw everything changing.
Buildings, the lofts, the condos, the apartments are now changing with a new, younger population coming into the city and creating more of an urban environment. And so thus the market is reflecting the gentrification inside as well.
Okay, first let's talk about what gentrification actually is, or what it was originally defined as. And it was coined as a term by a sociologist named Ruth Glass in 1964. And it basically means the in-migration of middle-class residents into a working-class neighborhood, whereby these newer residents then start fixing up their houses, start changing elements of the built environment, and then thereafter the prices begin to rise, for the home values begin to rise. What gentrification really entails is displacement of population, so displacement of the working class residents that were originally there.
I think this area is going to be totally different in about 10 years. I really see that growth, and so a lot of the shops and the vendors are going to have to change accordingly.
Really, this is a project that began a couple decades ago, and if you look through the documents, it's, this is a project making downtown a livable, vibrant part of Los Angeles. It's been a long-term project, so this is just the later phase of that, and then I suspect it will continue to a more advanced stage of gentrification in the next couple years, with some of these developments like the revitalization of, or redevelopment of the Grand Central Market.
I'm Reed Herrick, and I am the co-owner with my girlfriend and her sister at DTLA Cheese and Grand Central Market. Well, we have about 150 to 200 different cheeses. They kind of change and rotate. Each week something new is coming in, something old is going out. Cow, goat, sheep, working pretty intimately with small farmers from all over the world. When I was 12 years old, I wanted a snowboard. My neighbor owned a restaurant and started me working at a very young age, and that just kind of evolved. Lydia comes from a dairy family. It was just kind of in her blood, in her bones. At our Claremont store, we have probably about 3,000 products. We've had to kind of hone it in here just because of space. We didn't expect to be doing this in Grand Central Market when they approached us in 2012. People are focusing on more and more quality items and helping the market to move forward. It's just a really exciting time to see this change in the market and see each week it kind of pick up and progress from the last week. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a great experience to be a part of.
Today I had a pork loin sandwich from downtown LA Cheese. My aunt, she's kind of the veteran. She's here every day and she knows everybody here. And when I got my sandwich from there today, she was telling me how they're so nice and they're so friendly, and she feels like they're the only new vendor that's kind.
Grand Central Market, they're taking the traditional, Mexican traditional, and they want to make it like a Beverly Hills, so I don't know what kind of place they want to make it. Everything is going up, they're raising the rent.
I've seen it too with my own eyes. For instance, where Belcampo used to be a carniceria, and they were, I don't want to say they were pushed out, but they couldn't afford the rent. So, they closed and left, and then we got Belcampo, which is great. I mean, I just bought some pork from them on Friday, and I made some mole with the pork that I bought from there, and it was a great collaboration in my kitchen.
My dad has his customers that used to come, and now I don't see them anymore. You see the American people comes and just look at it, and they don't buy nothing.
A lot of the old clientele will come and they'll ask, where can we get meat, or what happened to the, carniceria? And we'll tell them, no, well, now it's Belcampo, and they don't want to go there because it's so expensive, and they don't understand why it's so expensive.
Gentrification talks about, it entails a process of displacement, but sometimes that displacement means displacement, like symbolic displacement, and this displacement of the images and the symbols and the signs that were familiar to you, and you end up with the place that doesn't look like what was once felt very open and inclusionary to you, and that you now feel like you don't belong in this space. You have a place like the Grand Central Market, and it starts to appear to some of these long tenured business owners that, perhaps this isn't my market anymore. All these signifiers that there's change coming, and it may signify to them that I am actually being displaced from a space that I used to call home.
Business has struggled. If we can't keep up, then we're gonna be out. So I've come in and I just made an Instagram page and I'm working on a digital storefront.
There will be casualties, there will be businesses that won't be able to hold on, but that will make for another business to really excel and to push the game forward.
We don't have no lease anymore, so we go month by month, but there's nothing to do.
If my grandpa was still here, I know we would still be relevant. You know, we've contemplated selling the business many times, but we just can't. It was his, he came every single day, even when he was sick. He didn't want to be home, he didn't want to be in the hospital, he wanted to be here. And, we won't let it have been in vain. So we're gonna fight as long as we can, and we're gonna do whatever we can to keep up with the times.
I hope that the vendors will survive because it's a link to the past, kind of the old world ways of how things were done, which is, has a nostalgia of its own.
The professional classes, those middle class immigrators into gentrifying neighborhoods, need to use their leverage to actually change some of these policies to keep people in place and to make sure that some of this displacement is not going to happen.
If we lose that piece, we're losing a part of our history.